Hey everybody, so this is part 2 to Genesis chapter 2, and I got a lot to say. Okay, so in Genesis chapter 2, in verse 1, the heavens, it said, the heavens, it says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. That means the heavens and hell, the three heavens and hell, and the entire spirit realm and earth were finished being created. And all the hosts of them equals all the creatures and elements that inhabit the heavens. That means the angels. They were created. And on earth, the animals, plants, and people were created. In verse 2 through 3, it says, the seventh day I gather that the seventh day of the week. This is the view of the seventh day of the week. God rested on the seventh day of the week. God rested from all his creating. He blessed that day. That means he held a feeling of deep respect for that day, and he sanctified that day. He set it apart to a sacred purpose. He views the rest day as a sacred purpose or for religious use. That's God's view of the seventh day, the rest day. In verse 5 is okay, so in Genesis chapter 1 verse 9 it said earth had dry land only. No plants or herbs were growing because God didn't create rain yet, and there was not a man to till the ground. That's in verse 5 of chapter 2. There was not a man to till the ground, and God didn't create rain yet. And there was not a man to till the ground. That means there was no one to prep the land for growing crops by digging, plowing, or otherwise breaking up the soil. That's where I think God got the idea for man's first job when he creates him, and it's where he got the creative idea to use water, create rain. In verse 7 in chapter 2, when God formed Adam's body from the dust of the ground, it was lifeless until he breathed the breath of life into Adam, giving him a living soul. That's what it said, it gave him a living soul. That's where I had the idea that he does that to every baby in the mother's womb. Before the baby bodies are in the mother, the baby bodies are lifeless bodies. Then God breathes the breath of life into them, giving them a living soul, giving all of us a living soul, bringing us to life. We are no longer just bodies in the mother's womb. We are bodies with a living soul, and we are alive now, physically. God is life, the source of all existence. We walk around physically alive bodies, moving and functioning because God made each and every one of us physically come alive by breathing the breath of life into us. And I found out that Eden was on earth. I thought it was in heaven, but it's not. It isn't. It was on earth. Okay, in verse 15 in chapter 2, Adam's job was to dress and keep Eden. Dress it would mean to cultivate, till, adorn, and embellish the garden. And embellish means to make beautiful and attractive. Make the garden beautiful and attractive, and to make it flourish. And to keep it means to guard, protect, and preserve the garden from deteriorating or being harmed, which required active maintenance and vigilance. So Adam had a very big job to dress and keep the garden. Okay, in verse 17, God's first commandment. I thought his first commandment was in the 10 Commandments, but his first commandment ever given was, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. And it was to Adam. So I found that out. In Genesis 1, we see that God created male and female and saw that it was good. In Genesis 2, before female, in verse 2:18, God created male. We see in verse 2, in verse 18 in chapter 2, God created male, Adam, and saw that man should not be alone, dressing and keeping the garden, and decided to create female, a suitable helper right for him. This is where my thoughts came in. God saw that male showed a great side of his image, manifested through the sex male, but he saw that it was not the complete image of him. His image was incomplete and needed another sex, unique and equal to male, but different in lots of ways, and showing a different side of his image, manifested through the sex female. Male was incomplete and needed someone to be a suitable helper and companion who was a complementary counterpart for all males. Thus, the idea of female was created. In verse 20, Adam realized he was lonely and incomplete even when he had those animals, and that he needed an helpmeet, aka a suitable companion and helper who was a complementary counterpart. He realized this when spending time with animals who probably showed him that male needs female. (21) God knew about every bone in the body. He knew that all bones can repair themselves from a fracture, but the ribs' capacity for large-scale, unique regeneration is much greater than other bones cannot regenerate a large missing section in the same way as ribs. Verse 22. When God created female, he made her skeletal system different from man with his ribs. Everything else was made differently from male's biology system. He could have made another male body with female capabilities and aspects, but no, he made a female body with female biology and aspects that complemented male, making us a helpmeet for males everywhere. In verse 23, Adam saying, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh," saying Eve is a part of him. I think that was him saying that Eve was a part of him, not closest to his heart or anything like that, but a part of him. She is his complementary counterpart. That means she completes him. All wives should be seen as the husband's complementary counterpart. Without them, they are missing a bone and a flesh. Symbolically, with them, they are complete and in harmony. In verse 24, therefore, in every marriage shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Cleave unto equals refuse to abandon, stick by even when it's difficult, remain loyal and faithful to, and to follow, obey, and accept rule, decision, or agreement, and abide by. That means abide by. All that equals one flesh. That's what one flesh means. And in verse 25, it says, both naked and unashamed. I think that means all marriages start out like this, innocent and innocent. The husband and wife should continue to be like this to each other. Innocent, completely naked, nothing to hide, and unashamed to each other. They should be like that to each other. That's it.